Hamilton gets talked about constantly as Toronto's affordable alternative. But there are 5 things about living here that most people don't find out about until after they've already arrived, including reason number 3, which completely changes how you see the city. Watch this video first. Reason number 1, safety and sketchy areas. So downtown Hamilton near Barton Street has been a bit sketchy for quite a while. I've been coming up to Hamilton for probably 15 years now, and I've been here quite a lot. And I can tell you that it's a well-known thing that the downtown area of Hamilton is known to be a bit of a safety concern. There's also Jackson Square, the mall, that's pretty busy, a little unsafe, and a pretty stark contrast to some of the other parts of the city. In general, a thing to look out for in Hamilton is just this big disparity and variance between the neighborhoods. Sometimes you'll find these picturesque, beautiful, tree-lined neighborhoods. Other times you find areas like close to downtown that aren't the best. So you really do have to watch out for that. Reason number 2, the commute. If you're driving into Toronto, it's honestly about 1 to 1.5 hours on a good day. I've had more than 2-hour commutes. My wife's parents live in Ancaster, so we drive up there quite a bit, and the traffic can be really brutal, especially if there's closures or if it's a long weekend. Definitely plan for some extra long commutes. We do end up taking the 407 quite a bit just to save some time. It usually saves maybe 20-25 minutes at the best of times, sometimes only 15 minutes or so. But the bills for the 407 as it's a toll road really do add up. There's also no subway or streetcar in Hamilton, so it's just buses, and the local transit's okay. It's not something you're going to want to rely on day to day. I'd say pretty much everyone who lives in Hamilton has a car, and it's a drivable city, which is good, but you're not going to be able to commute around on foot or by subway. The GO trains, though, have gotten quite a bit better. My wife grew up in Hamilton, and she was telling me about how when she was growing up, she'd have to go to Aldershot, and that's near Burlington, and there'd only be about 1 train going into Toronto all day. So now you have a pretty frequent service to Union Station from a lot of different GO stations, usually just within about an hour or so, they'll have GO trains running into Toronto, which is a big improvement, and it's nice they're investing in the infrastructure here. And just to touch upon the driving aspect, like I was talking about earlier, you know, driving here is pretty decent within Hamilton. You can go get your shopping done easily. There's not usually too much traffic within the city itself, and there's a ton of highways nearby. You know, you can connect to the QEW, the 403, but the reality is that getting to other places from Hamilton takes quite a while. But if you're just driving within Hamilton, you're in pretty good shape. So those first 2 reasons are really about getting to Hamilton and getting around inside of it. But reason number 3 is the one that catches people completely off guard, and it has nothing to do with the commuting or price. Reason number 3, the neighborhood divide. So like I was saying earlier, my wife grew up in Ancaster, her parents still live there, and that has beautiful homes. You know, there's some that are over 4,000, 5,000 square feet. There's nice, beautiful ravines, running trails. I've seen deers going on runs there. It's really like something out of a movie in some cases. But there's also a totally different part of Hamilton, like if we're talking about downtown and some other neighborhoods that are just pretty busy, unsafe, you know, older homes that are kind of falling apart. There's really a big divide. I know a lot of locals kind of say it's like upper mountain versus lower mountain. A lot of the areas on the lower mountain are still really nice, and there's a lot of quaint neighborhoods, but you do really have to know what you're getting into before you move there. And if you see a listing that's priced suspiciously low, it's probably priced that way because there's something wrong with that specific neighborhood. They've also really tried to build up the waterfront area over the years, but Hamilton at its heart has always been very industrial. It's known as the Steel City, you know. So as much as they've tried to build up that waterfront area, there's still a lot of factories and warehouses and smokestacks. So it never quite hits that picturesque waterfront that they're looking for ideally. Reason number 4, lifestyle and walkability. Unless you're living in parts of downtown or maybe Dundas, which is really cute, it's not really walkable here, and you're gonna need a car. You're usually driving to get around there. Like we touched on earlier, there's no subway or streetcars. The nightlife's also pretty limited. There is a really big university scene, especially with McMaster University here. So there's a lot of students, and students do go out and party and stuff. But I would say if we're talking about Hamilton nightlife versus Toronto, it's not really even close. However, a big lifestyle upgrade over Toronto is you have these really big box stores and shopping plazas. We do a lot of our shopping here when we come and visit the parents, and everything's generally with within about a 5 to 10 minute drive. And also you can get all your errands done. Like we go to the Costco, we go to Pet Value to get our dog food. It's just a lot more chill. Parking's much easier and the stores are not nearly as busy as they are in Toronto. Also, just to touch on the nature part of lifestyle, which to me, nature is a huge part of lifestyle. Hamilton actually has the most waterfalls of any city in the world. I've been to quite a few of them. There's Tiffany Falls, there's the huge Webster's Falls that gets super packed in the summer. So it's actually pretty awesome. You can just go walking along the Bruce Trail and hit all these waterfalls. And like I was saying, I've gone running a ton here. It's really gorgeous. And the lifestyle, when we're talking about nature, is really something that is tough to beat in other areas within a reasonable distance of the GTA. And that lifestyle picture is actually what makes reason number 5 coming up so important, because the hidden costs of Hamilton are not what most people budget for before they move. And if you're thinking about buying or selling in Hamilton, moving here, or anywhere else in the GTA, reach out to me directly. All my contact info is on screen right now, and I personally get back to everyone. Reason number 5, the hidden costs and reality check. Hamilton's further from Toronto and a lot of other areas in the GTA than people realize. A lot of times I've heard people say, oh, we can just move there, get more affordable housing, get a bigger lot, a bigger house. And that's all true. But, you know, we've even had that thought, especially with my wife growing up there. But the reality is you'd be so far from friends and family if they're in the GTA, and people underestimate just how far you are. It's like over 85 kilometers from a lot of areas in Toronto. And if you're going to further parts of Hamilton and further parts of Toronto, like in the East End, you could be looking at like around 100 kilometers from your friends and family. The property tax rate is also really high. Like you can see houses, those houses I was talking about. Let's say you have a 4,000 square foot house, which is amazing. And you know, you have all this space, a giant backyard. Your property tax bill could be close to $15,000 a year. To give you an example, whereas a comparably priced house in Toronto for that same value would be property taxes of about 6,000 or 7,000. So huge difference over there. You also generally need probably at least one car. If you have kids, you definitely need 2 cars. So that's added expenses. Ontario has the highest car insurance rates in all of Canada. So it really does add up and up. And also the Hamilton restaurant scene has gotten pretty good, but I've noticed when I've gone there that the price creep is real, and you're looking at main course prices that are pretty similar to what you'd see in Toronto. So after all that, who's Hamilton for? Well, if you're a buyer who wants a detached home with extra square footage for a price that doesn't exist anywhere in the GTA, or if you're a family who wants space and great nature access and schools and trails. Like I was saying, Ancaster specifically is beautiful, gorgeous area. This is a bit pricey, but it's such a nice place to live. If you're someone who values a slower, quieter lifestyle, my dad lived in Stony Creek for a couple years, and he's that type of person that likes that slower lifestyle. So Hamilton really fit with him pretty well. Also, if you're a first-time buyer, the entry point here for a condo or for a detached home is lower than almost anywhere else you're going to find, especially when we consider the fact that you're getting quite a high lifestyle here compared to the price you're paying for your home. But on the flip side, if you're commuting into Toronto every day for work, that's 1.5 to 2 hours each way. So that could be 3 to 4 hours of driving in traffic every day. That would drive me absolutely insane. Also, if you don't know exactly the specific streets or neighborhoods that you have to target, I mean, if you're thinking about that, just reach out to me. I do know those areas. But if you end up in the wrong place in Hamilton, it can be pretty sketchy and you probably won't have a good time there. Also, it kind of goes without saying, if you want that nightlife and you want that urban energy just to be able to get out of your house and walk around to a bar, or that's not Hamilton. So I hope this video helped you figure out if Hamilton is for you or if it's not. If you like the content, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. New real estate videos every Tuesday and Friday. My name's Jordan Abrams. I'll see you around town.